Okay, once again, Chris Mosier, podcasting director here. Our ongoing series of updates from the Quorum break, from out afar, outside of the state lines, wherever they might be. We're looking to check in and see how everybody's doing, and joined this time by a regular recurring guest of Progress, Texas, of course, State Representative Vikki Goodwin, who is coming to us, it would appear here on the video screen, from a bus somewhere. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing fine. And actually, let's start off with that. This is this entire quorum break operation has been something that is not only a move by the entire Democratic delegation, but also personal sacrifices by many of our members. You know, just normal people with day jobs. Some are business owners like you are. Most with spouses, families, kids, all of those things that have to be left behind for something like this. Give us an update, Rep. Goodwin, on how you're doing personally. Tell us about how this move has impacted your life personally.
Well, I'm doing okay. I have a very supportive husband, thankfully, so I always appreciate that. My kids are grown. They're out of the house, so I don't have to worry about shuffling them from one place to another. But other members aren't in the same situation. There are a couple of members who have brought children with them, and others who have left their kids behind. So I know it is a big sacrifice for all of us. It's not knowing what's going to happen from one day to the next, having to put events on hold. Or last night I had a town hall. We just went ahead and went forward with it, even though that was done as I was picking up my luggage from baggage claim at the airport.
Yeah. So in your case, with a lot of what you do, there are remote options, which is kind of a nice thing, you know, as we are doing right now, in fact. Yes. Let's go through some of the recent, you know, this thing is, we're really just into the second day officially of the quorum break here. Tell us about your opinions on some of the things that have developed. Let's start with Governor Abbott's idea that there may be options for removing some of the Democratic quorum breakers from office. Which has been widely talked about, but I'm curious what your thoughts are on that.
Well, my thoughts are that it's just bluster, that he can't remove us from office. The opinion that he used from Attorney General Ken Paxton is just an opinion, but it's not law. So right. They certainly can fine us. We added that to the rules after our 2021 quorum break. The Republicans were very upset with us for having left, so they did make it harder by putting the $500 a day per member fine into the rules. And so that we will have to find a way to pay for as well as our accommodations. But
right.
It was expressed today in the press conference that we had people from all over the country, not just Texas, are reaching out saying, we support what you're doing and how can we support you as you're doing this. So we're getting contributions to this effort from people throughout America.
Very, very good. Speaking of the idea of somehow charging people with bribery for accepting help with these fines, there have been some who have thought about that as a potential pretext for involving federal officials in some way or the other in terms of bringing you guys back to Texas. Is that something that you and your fellow quorum breakers have talked about, or would you explore that potential with me real quick?
What I am understanding is that we aren't asking people to pay those fines.
Okay.
We're offering to help support us while we are gone. So the food and lodging, that the cost that it will take for that. I have been fundraising for my race for lieutenant governor, and I will continue fundraising for that. But we can't use our campaign funds for the fines. And we all understand that. And we all know that we've got to find another way. And we will.
Very, very good. And that actually is something I should have brought up before. Not only are you sort of uprooting your normal personal life to do this, but also you're in the midst of this run for lieutenant governor. Has this turn of events changed your strategy or your activities with your campaign in any significant way?
Well, honestly, I think it's brought more attention to the fact that I'm running for lieutenant governor. This is a big state, and it takes a lot to get around the state and a lot for people to know who we are as state representatives. So right now, so much attention is on this quorum break that honestly, it is helping to bring attention to who I am and what I'm doing.
Let's talk a bit about and it's early on, and there are so many hypotheticals and theoreticals flying around, and so there may not be really solid answers for these questions quite yet. But what are you and your colleagues seeing as kind of the metrics for success here, benchmarks, the end of the special session? Of course, we know that December would bring a filing deadline, which is a long ways away. What are we thinking in terms of medium-term goals, points at which we see success, any of that?
Well, obviously, we are committed to staying out through this first special session. We know that the governor is very likely to call for, future special sessions just to accomplish getting these new congressional districts drawn. But I will say that he's got to understand all of the attention that this has brought. And he's up for election in 2026 as well. I don't understand how anyone, whether they're Republican or Democrat, can stand for this continual rigging of our elections by drawing districts that pinpoint. And these days, one of the other members was looking at the maps, looking at the data, and saying this looks like AI because it is so precise in how they have divided the districts. And the district currently I'm in, Congressman Doggett's district. The new district that I would be drawn into is 27, which goes from where I am in the outskirts of Austin all the way to the coast in Corpus Christi. And that's, communities of interest. That's the way our districts are supposed to be drawn, so that we are with people in our cities, in our counties, or neighboring counties that have some things in common. Honestly, these maps are so gerrymandered, and I think the public is tired of this. So I think that Governor Abbott should be worried about his own reelection if he goes forward with rigging these maps.
So you have been serving at the Capitol long enough to have done this before. This is not your first quorum break. Talk about any significant differences in either the circumstances or the stakes or both with this quorum break as compared to those that you've been part of in the past.
Well, very similar. We are coming together, all of us who are in the city together with our congressional counterparts, and they're coming during press conferences. The press wants to know what's going on, why we're doing this, what the hopeful outcome is. I think we would all like for this redistricting to just end. I don't think that, many of us believe that's what will happen. And so governors in other states are saying if Texas is going to do this, Governor Abbott is going to allow this redistricting to go forward. They're starting to talk about how they will respond to that. The stakes are very high. I think we are really at a point where democracy has become a game for Trump. In fact, on the news today, I saw that he says he is entitled to these 5 additional Republican seats. How can he say that he is entitled? This is a democracy where people vote for their elected officials. We should not be picking our voters.
Absolutely. I think that word, the use of that word is quite telling in the psychology of the person that we're talking about there for sure. And speaking of which, the very common, and as you would expect, it's not surprising at all, very low hanging fruit conservative critique of all of this is that the Democrats are running away from a fight, or that they're abandoning their jobs just when their jobs get hard. What would be your answer to that sort of a critique?
No, actually, we are not abandoning anyone, but Abbott has abandoned the people of Texas. After emergencies like the flood that we saw on July 4th, that should be the very first thing that we respond to. And a lot of us did. A lot of us went into Kerrville, into northwest Travis County, where people lost their homes and lives. And we talked to the Texas Division of Emergency Management. What can be done to help the folks here on the ground? And then what do we need to do legislatively? Really, there's not anything we have to do legislatively for our state to respond. The governor has the ability to move funding, and then we can backfill when we do get into our next legislative session. But our focus should be on that. It should not be on these games. He put 18 items on the special session agenda just to make it seem like there were a lot of emergencies we had to address. I just redistricting to kind of smoke and mirror. But the reality is we just finished a regular session where we did address the STAR test, and the House passed a bill to eliminate the STAR test. The Senate didn't. And so why is that now coming back during a special session? That's not really an emergency item. While I think that we should take the, get rid of the STAR test, take the focus off this high stakes testing, it's not an emergency. We tried to pass it in the last regular session. It didn't pass. So what we should be doing is putting that up for, consideration in the next regular session. Same thing for the bathroom bill. We didn't even bring that up in our regular session, but now all of a sudden it's an emergency. This is just smoke and mirror.
So to wrap up here, and thanks again for your time, Rec Goodwin. We appreciate it very much. Give us a message in particular to your constituents in your district. For them personally, why are you doing this? What do you see them as having at stake with the whole redistricting thing? And what would you like them to do to support you?
I think that people in Texas and my district and throughout the state deserve representation that reflects our state. And when you rig the system, when you draw the district lines in such a way that Republicans will win additional seats, that's not reflective of the state. That's unfair. I will do everything in my power to make sure we are not rigging our next election and not changing our congressional district lines. They're already gerrymandered, but by changing them right now, it makes it hard for even candidates that are thinking about running for Congress, because they don't know, are they going to be in the district that they are thinking about running in or not? So I'm here for democracy, and I will do everything that I can to make sure that we have a fair system.
Very, very good. State rep and lieutenant gubernatorial candidate. Is that the term, lieutenant gubernatorial? I don't think I've said that before. Representative Vikki Goodwin, thank you so much for joining us again from the Quorum Break, and we'll continue to follow and let us know what's going on.
Thank you.